Hey everyone, welcome back to Tattoos Book Club. We're reading Letters to a Young Chef by Chef Boulud. And, you know, the thing I love about books is that you can take them anywhere, right? You're waiting in line, you're doing whatever, you can read a little chapter here and there. So I'm going to start with the first chapter, and it's called, Do You Really Want to Be a Chef? Writing these letters to you has inevitably made me think of myself when I started out in this business more than 30 years ago. I had yet to see an avocado, taste a truffle, or eat my first dollop of caviar, which happened to be a spoonful of beluga over a turbo braised in champagne sauce. You, on the other hand, having spent 3 years in cooking school, know a lot more about a craft than I did when I threw myself into that career when I was 14 years old. I left our family farm in Saint Pierre de Chadeau and went to work at a restaurant Nadran in Lyon. I very soon got my first taste of truffle. Chef Nandron had just shot a pheasant, grown autumn plump on overripe grapes and juniper berries. He marinated in cognac and Madeira, stuffed it with foie gras and the first black truffles of the season, then toasted it in juniper butter with cabbage, salsify root, and a chunk of country bacon. Even for a kid raised on the glorious food of the Rion Valley, this was a central revelation. I knew how to hunt and cook a pheasant country style, but that was simple home cooking, and this was real cuisine. It was probably a stroke of luck that I did not know much more. In the beginning, I didn't have a clue how much it would take to go from a lowly worker in a French restaurant to creating a restaurant of my own in New York City. I know now that it takes much more than simply knowing how to cook. People often make that mistake. They confuse skill in the kitchen with being a chef. I've had some wonderful people work for me who could cook damn well. They have the talent. They've learned from the best. And yet I know that they will fulfill their talents best by continuing to cook in a great restaurant rather than trying to run one as a chef or an owner. Cooks and chefs are two different things. To be sure, you need to know all the basics. Cooking from savory to sweet, curing to baking, the almost mystical art of sauces, seasoning, spicing, texture, and taste. Add to that an up-to-date knowledge, or at least acquaintance with the evolving styles of the important contemporary chefs from all around the world. Yet this is only the beginning. How to work with people, how to manage them in the cramped quarters, and how to practice self-discipline and bring it out in others. Where to find the best ingredients, and how to squeeze every last penny out of them. How to move around the dining room and be interested in every customer. How to fulfill the constantly changing food fantasies of a demanding public. These are skills that you need to have to be a successful chef. This lengthy list is not meant to discourage you. What I really want is to lay out before you some things you need to consider now as you begin your career. And as far as I'm concerned, being a chef of what I would call a gastronomic restaurant is a wonderful career. By this, I mean a restaurant that in the spirit of the Michelin Guide is worth a journey, not just a detour. In these letters, I will share with you lessons I've learned and the hope that they will help you figure out if this is really the life you want. Of one thing I am sure, the only way you're going to make the grade is being a chef is indeed what you want most to be. First, do not be in a hurry. Even if things fall into place perfectly, it will take you at least 10 to 15 years before you can truly call yourself a chef. You will need those years to acquire the culinary skill and absorb the management and people skills that you need as a chef. So then the question comes, how am I going to spend those beginning years? And I would answer that by spending at least 2 years traveling the world, working as you go, experiencing what has become an incredibly increasing global cuisine. This is a luxury that I did not fully have in my early years. Once you have done that, spend a half dozen years working for the very best chefs you could find. Bear in mind, you will gain a lot more from making salad in the kitchen of a great restaurant than you will from attempting lobster thermidor in an average joint. Sometimes you will be what we call a stagiaire, like an intern, and you may not even get paid. I know that sounds like being a medieval serf, but there's a lot of competition that go into the best kitchens, and it may require that you do whatever it takes for your foot to get in the door. Furthermore, once you have that kind of head start on your resume, you will only advance by working harder and longer than the rest of the kitchen crew, so that you can be noticed by your chef. If you do this, you will have taken a tremendous first step, because that chef more than likely will give you a full-time position or provide a connection to a new job with another talented chef. When you go work in a kitchen of a great chef, chances are you'll learn as much or more from the sous chefs around you and your fellow cooks in training. The best places attract the best people. You'll learn from them, compete with them, challenge them. Right now, my kitchens in New York, besides my mostly American cooks and chefs, we have people from China, Japan, Mexico, Brazil, Israel, Italy, Spain, and France. Every one of them knows something about food in his or her country sorry, I stutter a lot. Every one of them knows something about food in his or her country that none of the rest of us knows. Sometimes this international kitchen makes me laugh at the mismatch of cultures in modern kitchens. We had one Japanese cook who was very good but handled everything from a leaf of chervil to a lobster tail with his chopsticks. He was fast and precise, so I learned that there's more than one way to do things right in the kitchen. But still, the technique amused me. I went from my first job at Nanjon in Lyon, and 2 years later drove 60 miles up the road to George Blanc. For a young chef today, you can make part of the global tour that I mentioned earlier simply by working in the right kitchens and the wide range of cuisines available in the most cosmopolitan areas. After you spend 5 years or so going from kitchen to kitchen, it's time to put down some roots in one or two places and move up through the ranks. This is when you will take steps that will make you a true chef. Although you may arrive with a beautiful resume from some famous restaurants, take my word from it, you're not. Even if you are, that does not mean much to the chef. Building your ego is not part of the game. This may be a hard pill to swallow after you've worked so hard to get where you are. Do not take it personally. Respect the chef and always give more than expected. Become a key part of the team. This truly will deepen your technique. This is the first chapter of Danny Boulud's book, Letters of a Young Chef. As we go, I'll try to do these better and better. And I mess up a little bit. I stutter a lot, so I'm gonna try to work on it while we go through this. And tag along, subscribe, and we'll read on to the next chapter. Peace. Thank you.